Today's episode is completely different. No book review. Instead, I'm going to talk about the different screen adaptations of a much loved classic, Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. I bring you three adaptations, a good one, a bad one, and an ugly one. And a fourth adaptation right at the end that may come as a surprise to some of you, especially if you weren't a child of the 80s in India. Let's switch on the reading lamp. Hello, I'm Asavari, and on this channel, I review books and talk about reading in general. I'm staying from the past today for two reasons. The first one, of course, is that I've been wanting to do this forever. I had Pride and Prejudice for English Lit in ninth grade, and ever since then, I've been an ardent fan. Even now, my friends and I periodically swoon over Mr. Darcy and imagine ourselves in Lizzie Bennet's sturdy walking shoes. And reason two is that I'm recovering from a bout of viral fever and haven't been able to read at all for the past week. I'm hoping to get back to it ASAP. I did go out and cast my vote like a good girl. My state went to elections this week, and I'm glad I was able to do my duty. Although I'm sure the polling agents who signed me in must have thought, that's a first. Someone who looks worse than their voter ID card. So, today we jump straight into my takes on the different screen adaptations of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. Disclaimer: these are absolutely biased reviews based solely upon my emotions and have nothing whatsoever to do with technical expertise or cinematic knowledge. Proceed at your own risk. At number three, the ugly in Good, Bad, Ugly is the cringe-worthy Desi version of Pride and Prejudice. The Aishwarya Rai starrer Bride and Prejudice. It's not ugly cinematically. In fact, it has the typical Bollywood flamboyance with exotic locations and extravagant dance numbers. If you like Bollywood pot boilers, you may even enjoy it. Here are my top three gripes against the movie. Number one, the casting. The world's most beautiful woman, Aishwarya Rai, as Elizabeth Bennet. Like, seriously? Powdering her face with a lot of bronzer does not make her any less stunning. Are we seriously expected to believe that she is much less attractive than Namrata Shirodkar's Jane? And unfortunately, in this movie, Aishwarya Rai's acting leaves much to be desired. Her fake accent, her overacting, everything jars on your nerves. Number two, the question of to Bollywood or not to Bollywood. It could have been an authentic Indian adaptation of the classic, but instead it went for the Bollywood Hollywood khichdi and thoroughly ruined the plot. The Bennets in the Indian setting are Bakshis from Amritsar. Lizzie is Lalita, played by Aishwarya Rai, and Will Darcy is played by Martin Henderson, imported from LA. The East West fusion just doesn't work. There is zero chemistry between Henderson and Aishwarya Rai, and you literally cannot understand why they would fall in love. Number three, complete deviation from the original story. In order to fit the story to suit the Bolly Hollywood casting, the plot is twisted and coerced into shapes that have very little resemblance to the original story. So much has changed that rightfully this movie shouldn't be called an adaptation of Pride and Prejudice. It's an extravagant, outlandishly colorful parody of the very subtle novel. My recommendation: watch it as a standalone movie if you must, though there is no earthly reason why you should want to waste 2 hours of your time. Bride and Prejudice has nothing to do with Pride and Prejudice. Let's move on to the bad of the good, bad, and ugly. The 2005 movie starring Keira Knightley and Matthew McFadden. I know that it was nominated at the Oscars in a few categories. A lot of people love the movie, but I genuinely believe that a lot of those people have probably not read The Pride and Prejudice. Here are my top three gripes against the Hollywood version of the novel. Number one, the casting. This movie suffers from the same problem as its Bollywood counterpart. Matthew McFadden and Keira Knightley may be good actors, but they're not Darcy and Lizzie. First of all, Darcy is the official dreamboat of all romance fans in the world. I'm sorry, but Matthew McFadden is too bland and insipid to even come close. To add insult to injury, his expressions are totally wooden. Instead of coming across as haughty and censorious, Matthew McFadden's Darcy comes across as pouty and pitiable. No. Keira Knightley's Lizzie is silly, giggly, and annoying, as if she were Lydia. Throughout the movie, she breaks into this goofy, vacuous grin that makes no sense. And the rest of the time, her mouth is hanging open. And she does this thing with her tongue sticking between her teeth, like, that is absolutely cringe worthy. I kid you not. There are only three saving graces in the casting: Donald Sutherland as Mr. Bennet, Rosamund Pike as Jane, and the brilliant Dame Judi Dench as Lady Catherine de Bourgh. Gripe number two, the breakneck speed at which the story proceeds. In order to cram the novel into 2 hours, almost everything in the book except the bare bones is chopped off. The way the movie shows it, it would be hard to understand why the heck Elizabeth Bennet and Darcy or Bingley and Jane fall in love in the first place. I understand that it's hard to cover the entire canvas of the novel in a movie, but then they could have made the movie a little longer. Why make it so short that it neither does justice to the novel nor makes sense as a movie? Gripe number three, the unrealistic portrayal of that period and the story itself. It's Regency era, and Bingley just walks into Jane's bedroom when she's sick and in her night clothes. The Bennets are shown to have a pigsty in their house, and there's an actual pig running around. The Bennets are not rich, but Mr. Bennet is not a farmer, he's a gentleman. They do not have a pigsty. Their house is a genteel manor house, it's not a farmhouse. Lizzie walks around with her long hair down and flying about. She even has bangs. Keira Knightley can have bangs. Elizabeth Bennet cannot have bangs. When I watched this movie, I got the feeling that no one related to the film had actually read the novel, and everyone, including the screenwriter, had probably used a children's super abridged illustrated version as a reference. If you're an Austen fan, stay away from this movie. If you're not, and you watch it, and you end up thinking that Jane Austen is overrated, it would be a terrible shame. Pride and Prejudice, the novel, is an intelligent, complex, iconic piece of writing that subtly took a dig at the prevailing culture of the Regency era. Pride and Prejudice, the 2005 movie, is a visually stunning, expensive, cinematic version that proves that an expensive movie can still be a cheap one. Finally, we come to the good in the good, bad, ugly of the screen adaptations of Pride and Prejudice. The 1995 six-part BBC miniseries starring Jennifer Ellie and Colin Firth. Give me a minute. You have to understand this. There are about 100 million women in this world who swoon over Darcy, and almost all of them are thinking of Colin Firth when they think of Darcy. Here are the top 3 reasons why I think the 95 BBC series has stood the test of time for almost 30 years. Till date, there hasn't been a better version. Number 1, the casting. Jennifer Ellie as Elizabeth is feisty, graceful, and mature. She's exactly the Elizabeth you visualize when you read the book. I can never say Colin Firth and Darcy without a silly grin on my face. His curly hair, his haughty looks, his measured dialogue delivery, and the absolutely killing smoldering glances that he throws in Elizabeth's direction. Colin Firth and Fitzwilliam Darcy have become synonymous with each other. Both Jennifer Ellie and Colin Firth have understood their characters completely, and that understanding manifests in their portrayal through their body language, voice modulation, dialogue delivery, even through single look. The acting of the entire cast is elegant and subdued, which does justice to the novel and the era perfectly. The only grating notes are Mrs. Bennet and Lydia, but that's exactly how it should be. Number two, the series stays true to its original work. The plot of the series deviates in minor ways from the plot of the novel. But I would say even Jane Austen herself would have approved of the screenplay. There is that one epic scene which was not in the novel but was added by screenplay writer Andrew Davis, and it drove women wild. A hot and restless Mr. Darcy jumps into the lake and emerges from it with his white shirt soaking wet and bumps into Elizabeth, the love of his life. This scene has topped the survey when viewers were asked for their most memorable TV drama moments. To celebrate the launch of UK TV's new drama channel, a 12-foot fiberglass statue of a wet white shirted Mr. Darcy was temporarily installed in the Serpentine Lake, Hyde Park, London. Then it toured the UK and was finally installed in Lime Park, Cheshire, where the scene was filmed. I kid you not. Number three, the production design. Right from costumes, hair, makeup, landscape, dialogues, ballroom dances, to the food on the table, the stores, markets, carriages, everything is authentic and representative of the Regency era. No bangs here. If you truly want to go back in time and visit Regency England, BBC's Pride and Prejudice miniseries will take you there. So where will you watch it? Fortunately, it's streaming on Prime Video, so you can head there right now to watch it. If I can figure out how to post a link to the Prime Video page of the series, I'll drop it in the first pinned comment and in the description. Now it's time for the fourth surprise adaptation. In 1985, 10 years before the BBC series, our very own Doordarshan brought a screen adaptation of The Pride and Prejudice with a 13-part series called Trishna. I don't know if you watched it back then, but I was 9 years old and I hadn't read the novel yet. But I remember being enamored by the characters and waiting for the next episode to drop each week. The serial featured Tarun Dhanrajgir as Rahul Mehta, aka Darcy, Sangeeta Handa as Rekha Anand, aka Elizabeth Bennet, and Kittu Gidwani as Ruhi or Lydia. Tarun Dhanrajgir as Darcy is possible, but Sangeeta Handa, Kittu Gidwani, and Ratna Bhushan as Lakshmi Anand or Mrs. Bennet are really good. The most important thing is that the story has been perfectly adapted for the Indian setting. If you didn't know it was based on Pride and Prejudice, it would still appeal to you. And if you did know that it was based on Pride and Prejudice, you would still be happy to note that almost all of the key things from the novel are covered while converting them appropriately for their Indian setting. And here's the best part. Under its recent efforts of rebroadcasting popular programs, Doordarshan has uploaded all 13 parts of the serial on the YouTube channel Prasar Bharati Archives. Again, you can find the link in the first pinned comment and in the description. To wrap it up, there are a huge number of Pride and Prejudice versions and spin offs in the air. But the only two worth watching, in my honest opinion, are the 95 BBC 6-part miniseries starring Jennifer Ellie and Colin Firth, and Trishna, the 13-part Indian adaptation produced by Doordarshan in 1985. Needless to say, both should be preceded or followed by a reading of the original classic Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. If you like this episode, please give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell icon so you never miss an episode. And please share with your friends and family. The more, the merrier. This is Asavri signing off for now. And until the next time, have fun under the reading lamp. Switch on, read on.